Okay, good, good. So we have 5 participants, right? So let's wait.
And guys, today is a demo class that we decided to start at 8 p.m. But from tomorrow, the timing is 10 or 11.
I prefer 11. Rest, it's up. We can
Yeah, fine,
maybe
fine. So
discuss
guys,
in the morning.
tomorrow same 11 o'clock we have a class. That means Saturday. Oh, sorry, Sunday.
Yes.
Sir, now good to go. We can start. We are live on YouTube.
Okay. 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 Good. Good. Thanks. Okay. Welcome everyone. So my name is Amit, and I've been working into networks for more than 20 years, right? Working with tier one, tier two ISPs. So I started my career as field engineer, then worked in the NOC environment, monitoring alarms, generating tickets. Then I started working on MPLS VPNs, Juniper, DMVPN, right? Bit into voice, security. So now for last 5 years, I've been working into the Cisco SD-WAN, Meraki SD-WAN, and then the Fortinet as well. Okay, so that's about me. And I'll be taking you throughout this course, right? So I'll be sharing the details of the topics that we will be covering on, right? And of course, additionally, I would, of course, be sharing the practical exposure, how things look like, because usually with most of the technologies, what we have in theory, right? Theoretical environment is totally different from things, how they look like into the live environment, right? When clients implement those technologies into their environment, so they adapt, right? They customize according to their needs. So we'll be talking about those things, and if you have anything, feel free to ask, right? Feel free to interrupt, and you can also post on chat, right? And regarding the course content, I'll be sharing the notes document, ebook, right? Plus lab guides. And of course, we would be interacting throughout the course, right? Of course, for the lab topologies, lab guides, lab use cases. So everyone, you will get your own lab instance, right? So with fixed topology, right? And if you want any customized topology, you can raise to me, and I can create a customized topology for you. So subsequently, I'll share with you how our topology looks like, what are devices there, how to set up. So we'll be talking about all those things in very much detail, right? So now just a quick introduction and your background, maybe how much experience do you have, so that I can adapt the course content and pace accordingly, right? Maybe we can go ahead with Satyendra.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Chatindra, and
Mhm,
I have total 6.8 year experience.
mhm,
And right now, I'm working with Lumen Technology. This
mhm.
is
Okay.
the USA-based company, and
Mhm,
here I'm working as a senior network engineer.
mhm,
And my role and responsibilities is perform the migration
mhm.
and some circuit deletion,
Mhm.
configuration, and
Okay.
IP
Okay.
reclaim, IP configuration. That's are the
Good. Good.
my
Good.
role. And
Yeah.
my past experience is about the IBM and
Mhm,
Bharti Airtel, Reliance Jio. These are
mhm.
my past organizations.
Okay.
So till
Okay.
now, I have total 6.8 year experience, and
Mhm,
right now I'm working with the Sienna, Nokia, and Juniper
mhm.
devices.
Okay. Good.
So
Good.
that's it from my side. Thank you.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. Thanks. Maybe Arun. Yes, Arun. I think you are unmute, but we cannot hear you. Okay, we can go ahead. We can when Arun would be back, right? So, Jaspreet.
Hi, sir.
Hello, Jasprit.
My name is Jasprit Singh. I am currently working in Bharti Airtel.
Mhm,
Our job and responsibility is to migrate the fiber pop migrate to nearest NI, which what is the possible.
mhm. Okay, okay, perfect.
I have a 10 year experience in TX domain. Now I want to
Okay,
switch to totally
okay.
want to switch my line.
Good, good, good. Nice. Thanks. Okay, then Ajay.
Yes, Amit.
Yeah, just a quick introduction about yourself.
Uh, Ajay, currently working with Installations Global as a L2 engineer,
Mhm,
working on firewalls, LLV, LV. So
mhm.
delivering the MPLS links and all those parts are being looked out in my position.
Okay, okay, nice. Narayan.
Hi sir, good evening. My name is
Yeah.
Narayan Thakur. Currently, I'm working in Villa Geo as an engineer. My
Mhm,
day-to-day activities and role is responsibility is monitoring of
mhm,
pan-India networks nodes for GPON devices like Nokia, like 9K devices, Cisco 9K devices, and Radisys OLTs and
mhm,
fiber optic devices, and
mhm,
troubleshooting of occurring faults with
mhm.
field teams.
Okay. So then okay, Rajiv, maybe you can go ahead. Rudra.
Hi Amit, this is
Yes,
Rudra.
hello.
Yeah.
Yes.
Total I have 6 years experience in network domain. But
Mhm,
in network domain, 4 years I have worked in RF and 2 years in network as a NOC engineer.
mhm,
Recently I have joined in HCL technology as a
mhm,
network specialty. There is
mhm,
a actually SD-WAN Versa is required, but
mhm,
I have joined in Viptela. Is there
mhm,
a difference? I don't know,
mhm,
but I need to learn both things. But I have knowledge in CCNA level.
mhm.
That's why I joined here to learn something from your networking.
Okay. So yes, I'll explain, right, the different SD-WAN vendors, at least what is the difference, right? So it's good to know, I would say, if you, let's say, if you have preference, if you have something specific in your environment, and but it is, I would say, it is always recommended to at least work on Cisco SD-WAN, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay. Santosh?
Yeah, hi Amit. Good evening. Yeah, I have a total 6 years of experience in the networking field,
Mhm,
and I recently joined to the company Happiest Mind, and here we
mhm,
have a Cisco SD-WAN with Taylor.
mhm,
Yeah, so I want to enhance my technical knowledge
mhm,
because here I have only for the monitoring level that.
mhm.
So yeah, I want to learn more about that retailer, and
Okay.
I want to learn how to push the template and everything.
Okay.
So that's
Yeah,
why
yeah.
I choose this networking. Thank
Sure,
you.
sure, sure, sure. Thanks. Tushar?
Yeah, hi Amit. Good evening.
Yeah. Good evening.
So basically, Amit, I'm from Maharashtra. I have total
Mhm,
like 6 years of experience. Currently, I'm working in a TCS as a
mhm,
SMA.
mhm,
Like we are handling one UAE-based ISP
mhm,
from Maharashtra, Pune, and
mhm,
like we are delivering different kind of services over both TX and IP media, like L2 MPLS, L3 MPLS,
mhm.
then like
Okay.
normal internet services, ADSL, managed
Mhm,
services. Then I'm handling some NNI customers also, some international
mhm,
links. So
mhm,
recently our client has introduced the SD-WAN technology. So
mhm,
basically I am here to enhance my technical skills.
mhm. Okay. Good, good. So I would say we all are at right place, right? So by now have the visibility into your background, right? So basically specifically with me when I'm explaining SD-WAN, right? So if you have CCNA level knowledge, right, it would be more than enough, right? Because I I explain the things in very much detail. We in first few classes we will be talking about the prerequisites which are needed before jumping onto the SD-WAN, right? So of course today we'll be talking about SD-WAN, right? What is SD-WAN? Why SD-WAN was needed? Why not something else, right? Then we'll talk about various vendors who are into SD-WAN, right? And what are the major differences, right? And we'll be doing the comparison as well, right? When we say we have why we need SD-WAN, so we'll be comparing with the traditional environment, right? What was the challenge? What were challenges in traditional environment, and why and how those things are covered in SD-WAN. Okay. So meanwhile, if you have anything, feel free to raise, right? If you think I'm going too fast, just interrupt me, right? We can manage the pace accordingly. So, anything else from anyone before we start? Okay, nothing. Then,
Amit, this is Kiran.
mhm.
Like,
Kiran, I don't know if you could hear me well. Your voice is breaking. I don't know if it is only for me. Maybe can you try rejoin? If maybe that could help.
yeah, is it audible now?
Yes, better now. Thanks.
Yeah, actually, I'm at outside. That is the reason. So, Amit, like this batch is for the weekends, and in the weekend it's only for Saturday and Sunday, right?
Right. 2 hours class
Okay.
each Saturday and Sunday, 11 to 1 India time.
Okay. Sorry,
Yes.
8 to 10 or 11 to 1?
11 to 1 India time, right? Saturday and Sunday.
No, now the time is 8 o'clock, right?
But today we have demo class. So for today it is 8 p.m. But tomorrow onwards, right? Tomorrow also we will have class at 11 a.m.
Oh, 11 to 1 every Saturday and
Yes.
Sunday. And
Yes,
what about
in the
lab?
morning. So labs would be accessible to you throughout the course, and usually it is 1 month after course is completed. You would still have the lab access for 1 month.
Okay. What about recordings, Amit?
Recordings, if we have let's say this Zoom session today, right? So recording would be available after 24 hours of the class. Today's
Okay.
recording, it would be available tomorrow almost at same time. And tomorrow's session, which we will have between 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., right? So after 24 hours, that recording would be available.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. Thank you.
And yeah, you're welcome. So
So,
the
Amit, I have one doubt.
Mhm.
Like basically, you will help us with the theoretical as well as a practical sessions
Of
also, right?
course, yes.
And if anything required, like as per my knowledge, you will give us the access to your labs. If
Mhm.
anything required, if let's consider I want to do the setup on my machine,
Mhm.
so is there any support from your end if anything is required?
So maybe you can check with the support team,
Mhm.
right? And as much I know, I am more than happy to assist you.
Support in the sense, I'm not saying to install these applications and all
Mhm.
those things. I'm talking
Mhm.
about particularly to establish the topology. If
Yes,
something,
yes, absolutely, absolutely. I'm here, right?
okay, thank you.
Yeah. So we have support team as well. So they are available in case you need assistance related to lab topology, related to any topic, theory, practical, and of course, I am also available, right?
Okay. Amit, one more question. Like, for coming to the lab, like, do we need to connect to the any gateway? I mean, and what I'm trying to say is the labs will be provided by you only, right? We don't need to install anything in our local machine to practice.
Absolutely. So it's the lab server is hosted in the networking's environment on their server. So once you would have enrolled into the course, right? You would receive email from admin team, support team, sharing all the details, how you can access the lab, right? And how about the recordings as well? How you can access recordings and the lectures
Okay, thank you, Amit.
and your lab credentials as well. So it's kind of a URL like when you access facebook.com. So similar, you will get one access. It will act like as if you are logging in, let's say, remotely onto the lab.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Amit, you are also doing lab in after theory, right?
Yes, I'll show you. First, I'll explain in theory. Then
Okay.
I'll show you the use cases, right? Because SD-WAN is all about practicals, right? If
Okay.
somebody, if somebody says you that if theory is done right, you means you can say it's only 20%. 80% is practical, right? I'll show
Okay.
you the use case of each and every use case, right? And then you would need to replicate by yourself, in your own lab instance, be it that lab which is hosted on the networking's environment, or if it is on your PC or your environment, if you have maybe your working environment, if you can do there, if it is feasible, you can try there as well. And I'm also
Okay.
available to support in that case as well. And if you, of course, if you need any assistance related to your working environment as well, right? So you feel free to raise, let's say, after the session,
Okay.
right?
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So,
I have one question. When will get the login detail?
Satendra, yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
When we will get the login detail about lab or any ID?
So, once you have enrolled for the course,
Yeah,
right?
I already enrolled.
Okay, then you can check your mailbox, maybe a spam folder, right? So you would have received the credentials on your email.
Actually, I enrolled myself yesterday around
Okay.
6 p.m.
Yeah, that could be the reason. So you can wait, right? You would receive in case it's not there in the spam folder even, right?
Till tomorrow or Monday?
I think Monday,
Okay.
right?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, welcome. Okay, so usually this our SD-WAN course, right? So assuming 4 hours each weekend, and this course goes to around, let's say, 40 to 45 hours. So 2 months, or let's say 2.5 months over the weekends, right? So you can manage your, let's say, personal or professional things accordingly, right? And so let me start sharing my screen. So please let me know in case anyone, if you don't see my screen. It should be visible to everyone now, right?
Yeah, visible.
Okay. Okay. So we are here about SD-WAN, specifically Cisco, right? First, I'll be talking about SD-WAN itself, and later we will connect to this, how it is related to Cisco and other vendors, right? So SD-WAN is software defined wide area network. So something that we really needed to optimize across the WAN side of the network. So when I say WAN side of the network, if this is my ISP, MPLS. So if even if you don't have exposure to MPLS, don't worry. I'll be talking about all these things in detail as well. For now, just assume that there is one provider. From that provider, we are buying the MPLS links, right? So we connect our MPLS lease lines to provider at different locations, right? So now just think that we have one office, one router in Delhi, other is in Mumbai, third one in, let's say, London, and fourth one in, let's say, somewhere in US. Now I'm taking the example of only 4 routers, right? So now the key problem, the reason why which the SD-WAN was invented to counter the major things, major challenges with traditional networkings were the management of these routers, So far, we are talking about 4 routers. There are organizations, there are networks which have around 2000 routers. Now, just think about if we need to, let's say, run certain commands, run certain checks, we need to, let's say, iOS upload on all 2000 routers. It's a huge task, right? So SD-WAN is there now to help with all these things, right? So you can say SD-WAN is nothing but a standardized automation. Certain tasks, right? They are inbuilt into the SD-WAN using automation. So when I say that if we have 4 routers, if I want to push one common command to all 4 routers, right? There is a thing called as SD-WAN controller from where the configuration is pushed to all 4 devices. It can be one configuration line, it can be 10 configuration lines, or it can be 500 configuration lines to all 4 routers from one common place. We can monitor all 4 routers. If we have, let's say, if we have 2000 devices, we can monitor the performance, health of all 2000 devices from one common place. So controller or SD-WAN controller is the common place from where we can push the configuration onto the remote devices, onto the routers, or we can monitor the alarms. We can perform iOS upgrades, right? So we can log into the routers from SD-WAN controller using SSH, right? We can see the utilization of each and every device, right? So there are so many things that we can do solely from one common place. We need not go log into each and every device. If you need to retrieve the output of, let's say, show IP route from Delhi router, sitting on SD-WAN controller, we can run the command and output will be here. We need not log into each and every device. We will just select one device at SD-WAN controller. We can select the command and it will give us output on GUI. This SD-WAN controller, it has most of the things on GUI, graphical user interface. So we will have one website. When we log in that, from there, we can see how many total devices we have in our network which are running SD-WAN. Let's say if we have 2000 devices, and out of 2000, if let's say 1900 devices are up, 100 devices are down for some reason, it will show us what all 100 devices are down and since when. So exclusive details are available from one common GUI interface. One common interface to push configuration, to troubleshoot. If you want to packet capture, that can also be done sitting on controller, and packet capture for the packets flowing, the communication between Delhi to Mumbai. We are sitting here for the traffic communicating between Delhi to Mumbai. We can capture sitting on controller. What this controller will do? It will go and it will capture this stream of packets. Anything so far?
So with SD-WAN, no need to log in a specific router, right?
It's optional. Login is available, but most of the times it is not needed.
Okay. So without login, how can we check the configuration or the packet flow?
Yes, we can check that. So it's available with the SD-WAN controller, and I'll show you.
Because as of now, that we are using like Remedy, so here we can check the all alarm performance
Yes.
and health monitor of the devices.
Yes. So you can say vManage or the SD-WAN controller can act as the replacement of Remedy.
Okay. Okay, you can continue. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. So, yes, anyone? Okay. So, standardized automation. So there are few tasks which are available as automation on SD-WAN controller. Like, as I said, remote configuration. For one device, two device, or 500 devices. It is available as standard scripting. We need not look at the scripts happening in the background. Cisco SD-WAN, it would be taking care about the scripting in the background. but we would only need to select the device and the configuration that we want to send to the device, right? So these things, right, the remote configuration, it can be done in the traditional networking environment using scripts as well, right? Let's say Python scripting or Ansible. But for that, people need to be aware about the Python or Ansible itself. But with SD-WAN, you can assume these things are there in the background, and there are standard scripts written to do all of these tasks. Let's say to do the remote configuration, or to upload or activate or upgrade iOS. This thing can also be done from vManage, the SD-WAN controller here. This SD-WAN controller, it would act as the repository. So the whichever iOS we want to upload on the routers, that iOS file should be available here. From where here we can push that configuration file to, let's say, 500 devices, 1000 devices, right? It would parallelly push the iOS image to the routers. And then from SD-WAN controller, we can do either both actions or either of the action. So when I say both actions, say only upload iOS, right? Only activate iOS, or do both, upload and activate as soon upload is done. So these three things, they can be done remotely, independently, and for any number of devices. Okay. This is one of the thing why SD-WAN was, or what are the advantages of SD-WAN, that we can manage the configurations remotely. We can manage the devices, alarms, etc. remotely. We need not go log into the devices, right? So if you have, let's say, 2000 devices in your organization, so you would need, let's say, at least 5 to 10 engineers as well to manage your environment, right? To monitor the alarms, raising trouble tickets, troubleshooting, follow-up, right? But with SD-WAN, the pains are reduced because you would see most of the things on the SD-WAN, this SD-WAN controller dashboard, that what is wrong with which device. So it is seen exclusively on one single page. Okay. So there are certain tabs where events would be there. Let's say if there are devices out of, let's say, total 1000 devices, if there are 5 devices for whom CPU is going high beyond 80%, so it will show us a separate list where it will show that these are the all devices where CPU is high, or top talkers on same SD-WAN controller dashboard page, on same one page, single page, it will show top talkers. What are the top applications being utilized across whole 1000 devices, across all 2000 devices. So SD-WAN, what it does, it monitors the type of traffic as well in the background, that which application is being utilized most. Okay. So the another key advantage of SD-WAN is security. Do we have security IPsec in traditional or no? In known SD-WAN environment, in traditional environment, we do have IPsec security, right? But that is optional. If you want, you can run IPsec security, IPsec encryption to encrypt our data, sensitive data, right? And that is optional. With SD-WAN, it is mandatory. SSL, its new name is TLS. So everywhere around Cisco SD-WAN environment, you will see this keyword TLS, which is the new name for SSL. So SSL definition, secure sockets layer, and TLS is transport layer security. So TLS is new name for SSL. So TLS is nothing but what TLS is, that for all communications certificate-based security is must. That source of the device, destination device, they both must have common certificate. They must have some sort of authorization. So certificate is, you can say, kind of our access cards. Whenever we have access cards, right, then we are authorized to enter the office, right? So certificates are similar thing. They contain secret codes. So if we have a sender device, Delhi, receiver device, Mumbai, only if they both have common secret code. Let's say if Delhi is sharing its secret code number one, Mumbai must also expect this number one, right? Then only their communication would be established. If these secret codes they don't match, right, then the communication would not be allowed. So we have inbuilt security into the SD-WAN. So that is the key reason of switching to SD-WAN, security. Now, when we have security, so what are the linked advantages with security? Why in traditional environment, in non-SD-WAN environment, why most of the organizations preferred MPLS? Because of the security. That MPLS networks are secure in itself, right? And internet, it is non-secure, right? So now, since we already have inbuilt native security into the SD-WAN using IPsec and SSL communications, right? Then organizations can use the internet lines instead of MPLS lines. This is where organizations are saving cost.
So which one is the good in security purpose
MPLS, of course, is secure
as compared to SD-WAN?
internet. So
No,
MPLS and internet, right?
I'm asking about MPLS between and SD-WAN.
SD-WAN would be more secure.
More secure.
Yes.
And what is the drawback of MPLS?
So as such, there is no drawback, right? It's just that in MPLS, right? So if we see, let's say, if we have a MPLS environment, right? So what SD-WAN is, let's say, if this is MPLS, right? So
Okay.
when we say MPLS VPN, it is usually unified. It is from one provider. Let's say if this is the MPLS connection provided by entity, right? Now, the MPLS links from this router to entity MPLS cloud and this, right? They are all under the management of entity, right? And
Okay.
we say it is secure, right? Now, what SD-WAN is? By default, the SD-WAN network, how it looks like on the top of MPLS is that there would be IPsec tunnel established, SSL based tunnel established on the top of even MPLS links, right? So SD-WAN is always overlay. We will talk about the differences. The other thing is underlay. I'll explain, right? Even if you are not aware, so don't worry. So SD-WAN tunnels, their SD-WAN path is always overlay tunnel. So that tunnel would be established on the top of these black solid lines. This is physical path, this is virtual path. Okay. So
Okay.
MPLS in itself is secure. Why? Because it is managed by, it is under the supervision of only one entity, right? So myself as a client A, I can say that I purchased MPLS from entity. So I have only one entity to contact to in case any problem, right? Now, with SD-WAN, what happens? We still use the MPLS links, but on the top of MPLS link, we create overlay IPsec tunnel, virtual tunnel, right? So now with MPLS, we don't have this IPsec or SSL based security by default. But even in non SD-WAN environment, we can still create IPsec tunnels on top of MPLS links. But in non-SD-WAN environment, if we want to create IPsec tunnels, then that would be overhead for us. So far, we are talking about 2 routers. Just think of 1,000 routers. How many tunnels we need to manage? Alarms, right? So many things. With SD-WAN, these IPsec tunnels are auto-established. They are automatic established as soon there is IP reachability between these two interfaces. We need not do anything. So this is the easiness, beauty with SD-WAN, that SSL or IPsec tunnels, they are established by default. We need not do any configuration. We just need to do the interface IP address, right? The SD-WAN controller would know about this IP address. It would be communicated to SD-WAN controller. And the job of controller is to exchange this IP address to other sites so that they can start building up secure tunnels between them to exchange the data.
MPLS line will be there, right?
Yes, it would still be there, but it is now why I explained why we needed MPLS natively before SD-WAN, because it was secure, right? Now, since we have IPsec based security by default, so now organizations, what they do, they are moving towards the internet cloud. They buy links from internet, which are by default non-secure, right? They are not secure by default, but they are cheaper. Non-secure, we need not worry about now, because anyway, there would be IPsec tunnel, secure tunnel established even on the top of internet link as well. On each WAN link, each physical WAN link, the virtual IPsec tunnel would be established between sites. Be it MPLS link, be it internet link, or be it could be a wireless link as well. Let's say 4G or 5G link, data card. Right? So there are hardwares, routers, where we can plug in SIM cards, just like our mobile phones. So that using that SIM card on router, we can connect to internet and IPsec tunnel can be established.
Okay, so to run the SD-WAN, the underlay connection should be there. Either
Of
it's
course,
internet,
of course.
MPLS, or wireless.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So SD-WAN is the technology of overlay. Okay. So now I think most of you would get the answer right, because I see on many forums and many blogs, right, people are not that much clear, right? So people usually think of, if SD-WAN is there, right, then MPLS won't be there, right? But that is not the case. MPLS would still be needed for the where or for the traffic type where better performance is needed, because even till date MPLS links, right, they are far better in terms of performance. When I say performance, latency, losses, jitter, etc., clapping, right? MPLS links are still far better, but again the contradiction here is MPLS links are expensive and internet links are cheaper. So what organizations do, they use both MPLS line as well as the internet line, because overlay IPsec tunnel would be established between two sites. So there would be now two paths to communicate between router 1 and router 2. What organizations do, or what SD-WAN helps to do, to steer the traffic, let's say the important traffic or critical traffic via MPLS path, and non-critical via internet path. This is where SD-WAN helps us very much. We can simply define critical traffic by name of the application. Match SIP traffic, send it across MPLS path. Match FTP traffic, send it across internet path. We need not here write the port number, IP address, etc. we can simply type name of the application. So there are 2000 plus applications which Cisco SD-WAN can identify the traffic based on the application name itself. This is important thing and interview question as well. It is called as application recognition. That SD-WAN device can identify the application type based on the packets coming in. If it is a traffic going towards YouTube, Google Earth, Google Drive, right? So by just looking at the packet, device can identify it is what type of traffic. Okay, application recognition. So we have easiness of remote configuration. We can manage the iOS upgrades remotely. Security is inbuilt, right? Then we have application recognition. This thing is also called as DPI, Deep Packet Inspection. So these things were typical, managing the configuration remotely for 1000 devices, uploading the images. We need to build scripts, right? Security, we need to configure the IPsec tunnels. It was overhead. It is still overhead in the known SD-WAN environment, right? Then application recognition, it is the new feature only available with SD-WAN, right? Then SD-WAN, software-defined wide area networking. So using the software approach, more of the software approach, right? Because in the existing known SD-WAN environment, we are still using iOS software. Many things are still in software, but SD-WAN, you can say, we are almost 50-60%, we are utilizing more the software-based approach to manage WAN or WAN routers. You can say WAN network. To manage configuration, to manage alarms, performance, statistics, right? Troubleshooting, analytics. So those things. Now, the key concept of SD-WAN is that it stems from SDN, software-defined networking. The concept of SDN is to separate control plane, data plane, and management plane. So you must have seen, right? If we have a router, what happens on a Cisco router if you run BGP between two routers? What happens, let's say, if BGP process crashes or BGP process causes high CPU on router? What are the implications? What are the associated issues we see? Have you experienced this?
No, here you are looking for means why BGP is utilizing high CPU.
No. If we see that BGP process, BGP protocol, it is causing high CPU on the router. Now, what are the other issues? If CPU is high due to BGP process, what would be the other issues on the router?
We see
lose,
performance.
yeah, performance degradation, right?
Yes.
So we lose access to the device. We cannot log in,
Yes.
right? Performance, as someone rightly said, right? The performance would degrade. There would be packet drops, etc. Right? Now, to counter this problem, because when we have problem on the control plane, because BGP protocol, it runs on control plane, right? If we have problem in the control plane, our management plane is impacted. The login, SSH login, telnet login to the device. We cannot log into the device, right? Why? Because BGP protocol which runs on control plane, it is causing high CPU. So high CPU is impacting the local login to the device as well. We cannot log into the device. The only possible way is to restart the device, right? So what SD-WAN has done, right? The concept of SD-WAN is first to separate their dependency. Management, control, and data plane. Management plane is kind of telnet to the router or SSH to the router. Control plane is about routing protocol, BGP, OSPF, static routing. And data plane is about the routed protocol, IP, actual forwarding of packets. We will have 2-3 lectures exclusively to talk about these planes, significance of these planes, right? Then difference between overlay and underlay, MPLS and internet network. They are important before we go into the actual SD-WAN, right? So it is important to understand all these things. For now, management plane is telnet to the device, control plane handling routing is using routing protocols, and data plane is about the routed protocol, IP. So all these three in the router, they are unified. If either of them has problem, right, other two planes are also impacted. So now what happens, let's say we were talking about BGP. If on a router, I have a link which is of capacity 10 megs. If full 10 megs are being utilized, then also we cannot log into the device because that full 10 megs of bandwidth is being used by the actual traffic, right? So this is the another problem. So in this case, data plane is fully utilizing the whole bandwidth. So other two planes are impacted. Your BGP may start flapping because of high utilization and you may not log into the device. So the concept of SDN is to separate these three different planes. How? So we are talking about two routers, right? Their WAN link. With SD-WAN, what happens? SD-WAN says that deploy different components for different planes. One component exclusively for control plane, or the counter thing in traditional environment is routing. This component in SD-WAN environment, right? These two, they are collectively called as SD-WAN controller. Okay, now they are always virtual, these components, right? Then the job of this component is to handle routing. It acts as route reflector, RR. So it receives the control plane information from one router and it exchanges with the other router. So in this case now, these two routers, they cannot exchange routing between them directly. So this is in the SD-WAN environment that devices or the routers, they won't be exchanging the routing information directly. It is via this control plane component, which is taking care of control plane routing. This is where we offload our devices of control plane. Again, another factor for saving cost, because we don't need now higher CPU capacity routers, because routing is now being handled by control plane device, this one. These routers are offload to exchange the routing information between them directly. So far, we are talking about two routers. Just think of the live environment where there would be 500 routers or 1000 routers. So it's a huge cost saving there as well, right? Now, so the concept of separating these three different planes, SD-WAN, it stems from SDN, right? And the concept is to separate control, data, and management plane. Now, this thing these things are common for all SD-WAN vendors, be it Cisco, which was earlier known as Viptela, right? Meraki, Versa, Silver Peak, Nokia, Palo Alto, Fortinet, right? Then we have VeloCloud. So all these vendors, they are again based on this concept. This thing is common for all SD-WAN vendors. Now, how they are different? Just think of, if you have worked on you might have worked on different routers, right? Different vendors. Let's say Cisco or Juniper or Alcatel-Lucent, or let's say Nokia routers, HP, right? So what all these routers do? They handle routing. You can run BGP routing protocol on all the routers, right? It's just the case that it's a different way to do this BGP configuration to see the route, right, on all these vendors, but ultimately they are using BGP standards, right? So same is the case with the SD-WAN. They are doing similar job, but they have their own syntax of managing these things. The concept is same. So this is the key reason of SD-WAN invention, the separation of three different planes. Okay, any question? Okay, no. So there are other vendors. So Meraki, Versa, right? So even with all the vendors, right? Cisco is still the SD-WAN vendor which can handle largest of the networks. So there are, let's say, large companies, large organizations, let's say with the offices, or let's say their networks having 2000 routers, right? Then Cisco is the only vendor which can scale up to this much high end network capacities, okay, to the large networks. Then for medium sized, of course, Cisco is still there. Then there is Versa, right? Then there is, let's say, VeloCloud. And then for smaller networks, of let's say 5, 10, 50 sites, we can use any one of them, right? But the customization, scalability, which is available with Cisco as SD-WAN vendor, right? It is not available with any other vendor. If we need customizations, right, to handle large network, if we need customized topologies, we will see when we will be working on the, each and every use case. I'll show you how things are different in the SD-WAN environment, like what are the key things which are only possible with Cisco. Palo Alto, Fortinet, they are only security vendors, right? Mainly their portfolio is about security firewalls, but they have integrated SD-WAN into their latest codes. But with Palo Alto and Fortinet, what SD-WAN is just, you can say 20-30% of what Cisco has. This is my view. Okay. If Cisco can give 10 things into the SD-WAN, Fortinet, Palo Alto, they have only 2 or 3 features, right? Most of the standard things. So I'm talking about, right, maybe by this point of time, right, they may have released their own images, because when I started working on SD-WAN around 6-7 years back, right, it was very much unmature, right, immature technology. There were very limited features, even with the Cisco Viptela in the beginning, but gradually they released new iOS versions, and they started adding new features as they were requested by various clients, right? So Cisco SD-WAN, we can run Cisco SD-WAN on Cisco iOS XC based routers only. Not what are the other options where let's say, what are the other Cisco routers? They are iOS G1, generation 1, generation 2, iOS XR. There SD-WAN is not feasible. SD-WAN cannot be run on those images or the devices having these images. Okay. And this is about the Cisco routers, Cisco hardware, right? Similarly, for Cisco iOS XE images on virtual Cisco routers, SD-WAN is okay to run. Just like Cisco routers, there is another hardware series called as VH, which is the Viptela hardware. Just like we have Cisco routers, Juniper routers, Alcatel Lucent routers, right? VH is another hardware from Viptela company, right? So the models of VH are like VH100, VH1000 based on their capacities, right? Different models. They have different capacities. And of course, there are their virtual versions as well. So these were from company called as Viptela. So what Cisco SD-WAN is today, right? So it was named as Viptela, and because it was invented by a company called as Viptela, which Cisco overtook later. Cisco overtook and rebranded this SD-WAN as Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN, but it was initially developed by a company called as Viptela. And when Cisco overtook Viptela company, at that point of time, only these hardwares supported, or these, let's say, virtual images of VH's hardware, they only supported SD-WAN. None of the Cisco routers, they could support SD-WAN at that point of time. Later, Cisco integrated SD-WAN things into their iOS XE code. The reason was backward compatibility, because this was the running chassis with most of the customers. So if Cisco, there was one option for Cisco to develop a new hardware for that, Cisco SD-WAN only, but that was about the market capture. So that was one of the reasons, right, where Cisco could have failed, because clients would need to buy new routers. So what Cisco did, they just gave new iOS version to all the clients that just run this iOS version and you can start using SD-WAN, just like SD-WAN on VHS. Okay, are we good?
Yes. Okay.
Okay, I think we are good for today, right? So just about the certification. So this is the certification that we would be covering, the topics according to this, implementing Cisco SD-WAN solutions. So this is the certification code, right? And here we have topics that we will be covering throughout the course. Okay. If you have anything, feel free to ask.
SD-WAN architecture.
Yeah, controller deployment, edge routers, policies, security, QoS, multicast, and management and operations.
Okay.
Anything from anyone?
These topics will cover in the SD-WAN, sir.
Yes.
And when you are giving the lab, it will be this practically, you can give the architecture, how it will be, sir?
Yes, yes. I'll show you the topology, right? And
yeah,
I'll explain all these topics deployment during the classes.
correct. In the current organizations, what will be the structure, all those things.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And we can test a variable, maybe topology also in the lab.
So for you, it would be a fixed topology. And if you want any customized topology, just share with me which topology you want. I can create one for you. But the topology that I'll be sharing, that covers all the topics, right?
Yes, yes. Only one topology, or maybe the several will
One
be there, sir?
topology only. Yeah, one topology. It covers all the topics.
Okay.
This will cover routing and all those things also, right? All routing
Yes.
protocols.
Yes.
In security, like IPsec.
So, the topology that we have in the lab, right? So you would be getting the empty instance of all the devices. The configuration that I'll be doing, that is in my instance. For your instance, it would be totally blank. You would need to do each and everything by yourself since from day zero. Even IP address configuration on the interfaces.
So basically, Amit, like SD-WAN is GUI based. So here,
Yes.
how are we doing the configuration on using GUI, or we will do like normal CLI based?
Both. I'll explain you both ways and the pros and cons of both as well.
And it will be the GUI we manage only, no, sir? We
Yes.
manage.
Yeah, that's correct. And even we can connect to vManage via Python scripts to run the configuration from third-party interface. Even that is also feasible using APIs. Okay, I'll give you a brief about APIs as well. But don't worry, these are not only topics that we'll be covering. So these would be there for sure. And sorry. So other topics like what are the a glimpse, let's say high level overview of the projects which I implemented, the challenges I faced, right? Bugs, right? So those things I would also be covering parallelly.
And how many months it will be, sir, SD-WAN course?
2.5 months. And this is my experience from the previous batches, right? But we can adapt to the pace. It's not hard and fast. If it extends to 3 months, that is also fine.
Yeah, sure. Take much time, but everything will be clear.
Yes.
So, Amit, in that case, like, do we have the access to the lab for the 3 months?
Yes. As soon we mutually conclude that yes, now course is completed. After that, you would have lab access for 1 month. But you can double check with the support team, of course. This is as much I know.
Yeah, sure.
Amit, in this course, you will provide some notes to us for the exam.
Yes. Yes. I'll be sharing the notes document as well.
Like how you are going to share these notes and these video sessions?
So, video sessions, you would be receiving the email, as I told you before, from admin team. The ways to access where recordings would be available, how you can access the lab, right? And the notes, it's up to you as you want. I can share. You can share with me your email address maybe tomorrow, right? Once everybody is enrolled, then you can share your email address. I can give you the let's say Google Drive link so that you can download.
Yeah, that will be better.
Mm-hmm.
So from tomorrow onwards, it will be 11 to 1 p.m., right?
Right.
On Saturday, Sunday.
Yes.
But I think they informed us, like the person who enrolled already, maybe that person knows, they informed us it will be like 10 to 12.
Okay. So what I would say, right, it is my preference to keep it to 11 to 1, right? But we can, of course, mutually decide if there are any preferences. Right?
Yeah. That let everyone enroll,
Yes.
then we can decide.
Absolutely. Yes.
And HDN part also it will cover, sir, in SD-WAN?
So not much, I would say, right? Because these are the key topics. But if you have anything specific, if I'm able to answer, I will do it. And if I need to explore, I can definitely do that.
Nowadays, HDN is the most important in the environment.
Yes.
So that's right. Yeah.
Because SDN itself is huge, right?
Yes,
So
correct.
SDN itself, open source, is altogether uh, CCIE equivalent thing, I would say, right? For that, for those, I mean, for SDN, you need to be expert in at least in Linux, right? Because that is all open source.
For SD-WAN learning course, is the Python is mandatory?
No,
How it
no,
is
no,
it?
no, no. It is optional, but it is good if you learn that. At least you should be aware about what are the key things like strings, variables. So even if you are not aware, don't worry. It's not needed at all in SD-WAN from SD-WAN course perspective. But according to the future, right, the needs of the future, I would recommend that at least you should know how does script looks like, what that script is doing, right? So at least this much knowledge I would recommend that everyone should have. Right, there are too many courses available online, right? YouTube videos, blogs. If you go,
Correct, correct.
maybe
Udemy,
you
all
can
those.
just, yeah, Udemy as well. So even while sleeping, when you are, let's say, browsing a Facebook or reels, etc. in the night, Netflix, right? Then also if you read the blogs for 15-20 minutes, it will take 1 week, right?
Yes, sir, correct.
Okay, I'm stopping screen share now. Anything from anyone?
So, Amit, I have a question. Like, usually, like, how the companies would take this SD-WAN, like, along with the MPLS, they're going to have this SD-WAN link, so that the not not secure. Okay, the important traffic is going to via MPLS, and the like
Yes,
non-important traffic is going to the SD-WAN.
absolutely. Yes. So
But
even
is
see,
there?
SD-WAN is even on the top of MPLS or internet link, right? So SD-WAN would always be overlay on the top of MPLS and internet. It
Yeah,
can
that's
be
fine.
either
Like, understood.
MPLS.
Like, for the SD-WAN as a overlay, like internet is the underlay. I understand that, but
Yes.
as the already MPLS is giving the security,
Mhm.
why would we need the SD-WAN on top of the MPLS?
So there are various reasons, right? When you are only using MPLS, you cannot do remote configuration of the devices, right?
Okay.
Only one aspect of SD-WAN, that is security, right? That is covered when
Yeah.
you are using only MPLS but not SD-WAN. You cannot manage your devices remotely, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So sort of this application recognition feature which we talked about,
Yeah.
control plane separation. If you are not using SD-WAN on top of MPLS link, you need to exchange your routing, right? Your router again needs to handle routing. So again, contradiction to cost saving. If you need higher
Okay.
capacity routers, so you are spending extra for your router, right? And if you switch to SD-WAN, anyway, if you are having SD-WAN over internet lines, so it's just about few lines configuration and you would be running SD-WAN over MPLS links. You don't
Yeah,
need
but like
routers.
as far I know, like SD-WAN is, I mean, sorry, MPLS is more expensive than that's the reason
Yes.
like people are going for the SD-WAN as a alternate approach, or to get the cost effective kind of thing. So I'm just thinking like in
So,
which scenario, like,
so there are, I would say, certain dependencies, right? Every organization, they have their own business nature, right? So for the organizations where you know performance can be compromised, right? If performance
yeah,
is not that much mandatory, then their internet lines are fine, they don't need MPLS. Then for the
got
networks where performance is of key thing, right, then MPLS links are must for critical traffic, let's say voice traffic, right? Because over
yeah,
internet links, when we will be talking about internet ISPs, internet links, I'll explain you how it is impacted. But voice traffic, you would not see. Most of the organizations, they are communicating voice traffic over MPLS links because
yeah. Usually voice and
MPLS,
video traffic on MPLS, and
yes,
less important traffic
absolutely,
like Outlook and etc. They are going to
absolutely,
use us. Yeah.
yes.
And do we configure the redundancy, like in case of SD-WAN goes down, like what are the traffic we are sending over the SD-WAN, we can
Yes.
route towards the MPLS.
We will do
in case
that.
of
We will do that. We will do exclusive use case for this. Yes.
got it.
Anything?
I'm good, sir.
Okay, good. Thanks for confirmation. Okay, if nothing, then let's conclude for today and catch you tomorrow then, 11 a.m., right?
Okay.
Yeah.
On same URL.
Yeah, sure, Amit. And this
Yes.
tomorrow also the link will be the same, right?
Yes,
The
even
meeting link
if
will be the same.
it should be same, but if it would be different, you would be communicated on email.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I haven't enrolled it, so I'm going to talk to
Okay,
the
so that is the
management
important
and
thing. Yes.
anyway, tomorrow they will not be available, right? So I'll talk to them on Monday.
No, they
So,
would be available. They would be available.
oh, tomorrow also they would be available?
Yes.
Fine, I'll talk to them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Yeah. See you
Yeah,
tomorrow.
bye, good night. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Thanks.